Let me say this clearly. If your business only works when you're exhausted, that's not success. That's a poor design. So, we're going to talk about how to create a business that works with you, not against you. So that way you don't burn out. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the Jameela Adams Experience, the podcast for women over 40 who are building businesses with purpose, clarity, and a whole lot more intention. This month, we've been talking about what it means to be intentional, not just in our goals, but with how we actually live while building our businesses. And today's conversation is personal because I've lived it. And I know you probably have too. See, here's the problem. And somewhere along the way, entrepreneurship got this whole thing twisted. We start believing in being tired means you're doing it right. Saying yes means you're serious. And hustling equals success. So we built these businesses that need us available at all times. Collapse if we take a break and leave us questioning why did we even get started. So let me be real. It's not the work ethic that's the problem, it's the design problem. So we need to shift. First and foremost, we need to shift. Your life is not an afterthought, especially being an entrepreneur, and especially if you're running a small business or a team. So your business should be built around your life, not squeezed into it in the after hours. That means knowing when you work best. That means acknowledging seasons where your capacity changes, respecting your personal commitments as non negotiables. So, if your calendar doesn't reflect your values, your business never will. And I'm saying this because I've experienced this, and I'm pretty sure you have starting out. You say yes to many things that you probably should have said no to. You've let clients, operate things out of the scope of what you had already talked about. So these are the things as business owners, entrepreneurs, that we have to learn to reel it in and pull back some. So we have to shift. Our life is not an afterthought. When I started my business, God, 6 years ago, I did it under the guise, well, I wanted to help others. But in the process of helping others, and I'm pretty sure this happens too, we say things, we allow things to be overstepped, and then we blame ourselves when things don't go the way we had planned. The outcome is not what we wanted. So, this is why it's so important to build with your capacity. And I'm not saying we have to lessen who we are. That's not what I'm saying. But if you know you're not a morning person, why do you set up calls for 7:30 a.m. in the morning, Susan? And if you know you're a night owl, then why not work those hours and be okay with it? That's what I'm saying. Work within your capacity. That's something that we all should do when we start our business. So, shift number two, boundaries are business strategy. Boundaries are not meant to be difficult. And I believe I've talked about this in a previous episode. They're about being clear. Our boundaries are our guidelines to keep us back in our lane. Because, when we operate out of our lane, things become a mess. So things like office hours, communication expectations, and scope of work, like I made mention of, we have what is called scope creep. And I'm pretty sure you've had this happen to you when you first started out. So they are here to protect your energy and your creativity because once we get bogged down with so many tasks and things like that, we lose focus of what's real and what needs to be done. So remember I talked about having CEO time. This is a perfect way to get you back on track. So set an hour, maybe 2 hours out of the week, and just do what you need to do to recalibrate, renew what you already know. So let's be honest. Clients respect clarity over availability. You have to set boundaries with them and with yourself. So shift number three, a simpler businesses are stronger businesses. More offers don't always equal more money. And let me tell you, this is something you will learn because it's happened with me. I had to pivot and take some things off my plate. Some services I will no longer do. And I'm okay with that because when I really think about it, I was so caught up with the smaller services that I was missing out on the big ticket items. So that's something you may have to think about. So, like I said, more offers don't equal more money. These usually equal more confusion. And you have to be clear because clients love clarity. They don't like ambiguity. They don't like being vague, you being vague. So remember, make things clear for them. And intentional business has clear services. Okay, I'll say that again. An intentional business has clear services and they solve specific problems. So it's easy to explain and easy to deliver. So think of that way. Complexity drains you, clarity sustains you. I'll say it again. Complexity drains you, clarity sustains you. So shift number 4 is something that we all need to think about is structure creates freedom. You know, when you think about your guidelines, your boundaries, you work within those parameters, don't you feel a lot better? Don't you feel like how structure creates freedom? And when you have schedules, when you have systems in place, you have processes, they don't trap you, they free you because this is how you operate in your parameters. This is your space. So when your business has structure, you make fewer decisions because you already have a system in place. I personally, since I've been seeing a business coach, had to reconfigure some things in my framework. And I'm so grateful for it because it makes me feel like I'm doing something right. I'm on the right track. And that's what I want for you. So when you start out, or if you are an established business owner, just think of how you need to par back on some things, and it's okay to make that shift. So the other thing you have to think about when you set parameters is you conserve energy for what matters. If you know that your office hours were within this time to this time, then do it. Everything else out of that scope, you'll have to wait. And you'll thank yourself later for it because you're not stressing. So freedom isn't found in chaos. Let me repeat that. Freedom isn't found in chaos. It's found in intentional design. So here's the big truth I want you to know. Okay. Success that caused you peace is too expensive. Anything that costs you your peace, your well being, your joy, all the things, that's a price no one should have to pay. And I want you to know that being a business owner, there are certain things that you look at like, oh, that's a high cost. I got to pay for a printer. That's a high cost. But guess what? The higher cost is what's stressing you out because it costs you peace. And you know what stress does to your blood pressure and all the things. We won't go into the medical side of it, but you know what it does to you. So you don't need to earn rest. You don't need to burn out to prove anything either. You're allowed to want a business that feels good to run. And that's what you should want. A business that feels good to run, like it's a well-oiled machine. And if you were to step away, it can keep going without you. That's the joy. That's the reward for everyone. My challenge to you is reflect on this for the week, okay? What would change if your business had to support your life, not consume it? Okay? What would change? How would you feel? What would you do? What things would you allow to occur? And think about it. Write it down. Let me know. We'll talk about it on the socials because I'm still doing I'm working on the questions from last week. So I have made my goals. I have set my goals and I want you to do the same thing too. But I also want you to let me know what this question meant for you. So sit down, write it out, or shoot me a DM. You know where you can find me on the socials. So here's the thing. If this episode resonated with you, share it with another business owner, a woman out there who is doing too much and calling it just part of the process because it ain't, sis. It really isn't. And here's the thing. I want you to be intentional because it's not about doing less. It's about doing what actually matters. And starting 2026, I said to myself that I wanted to be more intentional or be intentional because I'm not going to lie, I fell off. Things happen, life gets in the way, life be life. So my thing is get back in the center, get back to what it's real to you, and then find out how can you make things better for your business. And in turn, that'll make you better. Okay. So until next week, you know how I close the show. I want you to be inspired. I want you to be inspiring. I want you to be encouraged. I want you to be encouraging. But most of all, I want you to be you. And I will check you out next week. Take care.